Hey students, welcome back to my channel Bansal Biology. In today's video, we are going to see about cholera toxin, that is a part of GPCR signaling, and this is a part 5 of GPCR signaling. So let's get started with the video, guys. If we are talking about cholera toxin, that we must know that which of the organism is secreting the cholera toxin. So Vibrio cholera is a bacteria that is responsible for the secretion of this toxin. What will happen if by chance some organism drink a water that is contaminated with this Vibrio cholera? That is, if this water contains this Vibrio cholera, and what will happen if someone has consumed this water? So this Vibrio cholera will enter into the digestive system, or we can say alimentary canal. It will enter into the alimentary canal of the organism. So now what this Vibrio cholera can do? This Vibrio cholera can form a toxin that is known as cholera toxin. This cholera toxin is an enterotoxin. What is the meaning of enterotoxin? Is that it is secreted by, it is not present on the cell membrane of the bacteria or anything else, but it is released. It is released in the alimentary canal. And specifically this enterotoxin will go and infect the intestinal epithelial cells. It will infect the intestinal epithelial cells. So what will happen is that, for example, this Vibrio cholera has been consumed, so it will move through our stomach, then to the duodenum, and it will enter into the small intestine. So it is present in the small intestine, and here on the membrane of small intestine there are epithelial cells are present. These epithelial cells will be infected by this Vibrio cholera, or we can say cholera toxin, because Vibrio cholera has been released its cholera toxin. So now let's see what will happen. This is a very rough diagram of intestine. It is a very rough diagram of intestinal cell. Which intestinal cell it is? It is an intestinal epithelial cells. Okay, and the upside here, it is the lumen of intestine where the food is present and the digestion is occurring, and right now the cholera toxin is present here. These are the villi, and this is the site. Generally what happens is that from here the nutrients is absorbed by the epithelial cells, and those nutrients move from through the blood to the all parts of the body. But now what is happening, that here in the picture there is a molecule is present in your body, that is a cholera toxin. So in this epithelium there is a molecule present. That molecule is known as ganglioside. The name of the molecule is ganglioside. What this ganglioside is do, that this cholera toxin will bind with this ganglioside, specifically these 5 subunit that are binding subunit will bind with this ganglioside. Why they are binding? So that their sathi, that is the catalytic subunit, can enter into the epithelial cell. So there has been some communication between the ganglioside and this binding site subunit. They both interacted, and due to which this catalytic subunit is inside your epithelial cell. Now what it can do, the question arises this. So before that, let's first revise our GPCR signaling. There we have seen that there is a receptor, that is a serpentine receptor. That receptor is known as GPCR, and it is serpentine. That is, it is made up of 7 subunits. For that there is a protein present, that is known as G protein. This G protein is right now in inactivate form because it is bound to the GDP, but as long as some ligand will come and bind to this GPCR, it will be converted into the activated form by binding of GTP. This is whole the simple thing. Then what will happen? This alpha subunit will get separated. It is bound with the GTP as it is activated, and it will go and bound with a effector molecule. For now, this effector molecule is adenyl cyclase. Okay, what this adenyl cyclase will do, or generally it converts the ATP molecule into a CAMP molecule. What this CAMP molecule? It is a secondary messenger, and it will activate something else. So right now, whom it is activating PK, that is protein kinase A. So now it is a kinase molecule. It has the capability to activate something or to deactivate something by giving its phosphate group. So generally what is the function of protein kinase A? Is to donate a phosphate group. That's it. It's none of his business that what will happen in future, but it's just as it has to give its phosphate group. So now this whole is the basic thing. So once this all is done, then this alpha subunit once again will bind to GDP and will separate from this adenyl cyclase, and this whole thing will stop to occur. So there is a GTPase activity present in the G protein, due to which this DTP is cut it down into GDP. And this will become inactive because we can't keep it in active form for lifelong, because if this occur, then there will be some disease can occur in the organism. So this is this whole basic idea. Now what this catalytic subunit play with this thing only. What it will do, it will add a ADP ribose with this alpha subunit. So when this alpha subunit is bound with ADP ribose, what it can do, this ADP ribose will not allow this GTP to separate with alpha subunit. Okay, it won't allow this GTP to be separated with alpha subunit. If it is not separated, then alpha subunit will remain active. And if the alpha subunit remain active, then adenylyl cyclase will remain active. Then CAMP will be produced continuously, and then pKa will be produced continuously. It will remain in its active form. It will remain in its active form. So now what is this pKa can do? Why this pKa is dangerous during this cholera situation? So this pKa will do many a thing. Let's see one by one. So first of all, this pKa will go here and it will come in contact with the antiporter. This antiporter is Na positive, H positive antiporter. What is an antiporter? Is a molecule, is a transmembrane protein that does the exchange of molecule. So through this, Na positive is regularly coming inside and H positive is going outside. This is normally occurring, that in the cell Na positive is coming and in the lumen H positive is going, as we have to absorb the ions. This is the normal procedure is occurring. But now this pKa won't allow this. What this pKa will do, this pKa will phosphorylate this antiporter. So this antiporter will no longer be able to do its normal work, that is exchange of Na positive and H positive. Plus here it won't stop. Plus what it will do, it will phosphorylate a transmembrane protein, that is CFTR. It will phosphorylate a molecule, that is CFTR. Yeah, that is cystic fibrosis transmembrane regulator, conductance regulator. Okay, so what it will do, it will activate this transmembrane protein. So what this transmembrane protein can do, this transmembrane protein actually is a chloride channel. It is actually a chloride channel. So due to which what will happen, the chloride will leave this epithelial cell and will enter into the lumen. So you are seeing that the salts are going out from this cell to the lumen. If the salts are moving, then the water will also move with this molecule. So now what will happen to maintain the osmolarity? So now what will happen, as long as the Cl is going into the lumen, the water will also leave with this Cl molecule. Okay, and continuously if this will occur, then there will be loss of ions from our body and the loss of water from our body. And if it is so too much, then that can cause the death of the organism. So this is how generally this cholera toxin is doing. Basically it is just giving the catalytic subunit to the epithelial cell. Then this catalytic subunit is adding this ADP ribose to the G protein with the G alpha subunit, and this alpha subunit will remain with the GTP, due to which this ATP is continuously converting into the CAMP. Due to this pKa will remain activated. First it will stop the sodium hydrogen ion pump, that is antiporter, and here also it won't stop. It will also activate the chloride channel, that is CFTR, cystic fibrosis transmembrane conductance regulator, due to which the chloride ions will be lost from the epithelial cell and it will enter into the lumen. With that, water will also go. Wherever the salt go, water goes for the maintenance of osmolarity, and from this lumen the food will move down to the large intestine, and from large intestine it would go into the rectum, and after rectum it will go into the anus, and finally the defecation will occur. So in this way the loss of nutrients and loss of water occurs in our body due to this cholera toxin. So I hope this whole signaling is very clear to you. There is no change with the GPCR, just the basic of GPCR and just some changes, and this is the signaling of cholera toxin. So I hope this video has helped you a lot, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe my channel and share this video with all your friends. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.